Hi, Claire and James here. Just before we get stuck into this week's episode, we wanted to let you know the exciting news that the Midlife Reset audit is now live. This is a first of its kind personalised diagnostic tool designed for midlifers by midlifers.
In just 3 minutes, the audit will help you pinpoint what's really holding you back from living your healthiest, happiest midlife, and most importantly, provide tailored strategies on how to take back control. Midlife doesn't have to be a time of uncertainty. It can be an era of growth, discovery, and well-being. So to go ahead and take the audit, go to themidlifementors.com/audit.
In this episode, I, Claire, go solo, talking about my fitness and health journey over the past 18 months. It's been really up and down, and I want to share what forced the change, as well as what I learnt and what I had to let go of. There was a sort of personal identity for me around fitness and health, and going through these shifts was humbling but incredible for my self-growth. Sometimes we just see people's highlight reels, and my hope is that you feel seen and heard via my story.
Hi, I'm James Davis.
And I'm Claire Davis.
We're the Midlife Mentors, here to lift the lid on how to achieve health and happiness.
The balanced, no-nonsense way. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Midlife Mentors with me, Claire, and there is no James on this one. I am flying solo today and it feels a bit odd, to be honest, because I think even if I have gone solo without James, I've always had a guest with me. So this feels a bit odd, just doing this, speaking into the microphone on my own. But James and I decided this is probably going to be the best way to do it, because when we were talking about the topic for this, it seemed more like it was stuff that I wanted to share about my own fitness journey and health journey really over the last 18 months. So I wanted to jump on, be super vulnerable about what's been going on for me, because I always want to, James and I both, but I always really want to make sure that people don't feel alone. I never want to be one of those coaches out there that look like they've got it all together. It's just completely not what I want to do. You know, I'm here, I feel, in this world to actually share the highs and the lows, but particularly the lows, so that people, don't feel alone in their struggles, and actually I suppose in a way feel uplifted by some of the stories that I have about overcoming things and the struggles that I've had with health, wellness, my mindset, my emotional well-being, my spirituality, all that kind of stuff. But this one I really wanted to focus particularly on, I suppose, fitness and nutrition journey over the last 18 months, because it started out, it must have been February 2023. That feels like ages ago now. It kind of is, isn't it? So February 2023, I was doing 75 hard. If you don't know what it is, Google it. It is a challenge for 75 days, as it says on the tin. And part of the thing was doing 2 workouts a day. Now, this goes against everything. I've put my hands on my heart and say, with complete actual embarrassment, but I'm not, because I'm being compassionate with myself, but like it goes against everything that I've ever told clients to do. 2 workouts a day. One had to be outside. They weren't both cardio. There could be a weight session inside, but one of them had to be outside, and they both needed to be 45 minutes long. Let alone what I was doing I went alcohol free that time, 75 days. And I did change my kind of like diet plan that I was doing. And there are other things like reading 10 pages of a book and all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in it, it was a massive craze at the time. And I did it with a really lovely group of people in my alcohol free group. And I did it mainly because I wanted more discipline in my life. I mean, I look back now and I honestly think, what was I thinking? Why, as a disciplined person anyway, what was I trying to achieve? What was I striving for having more discipline in my life? I was already a disciplined person, but also at that extreme, I now realize, I suppose, that I was just trying to get kind of like external validation still on how disciplined I could be, trying to feel better about myself if, I've achieved this challenge. Don't get me wrong, it was amazing, and I'm very, very proud of myself that I did it. But looking back now, the main thing that really concerns me is the 2 workouts a day for 75 days, right? So I did it. Sometimes it was a walk. A lot of the time it was a walk, to be fair. So it was a walk outside. I'd do a weights workout in the morning and then do a walk. But sometimes I didn't. Sometimes I did my weight session in the morning, then went out for a run and all that kind of stuff. And the reason I'm telling you this is because this is what contributed to my burnout. It wasn't the only thing, but physically I got really sick. So I got a lung infection, and it was borderline pneumonia. So I was still doing 75 hard. Again, I don't recommend this. I think this was a silly thing to do looking back, but I continued to do 75 hard even though I'd been hospitalized. I mean, what on earth? I was put on a drip and everything. I was like, James, I've got to do my 45 minutes walk. And that lung infection really put me back. I mean, I've never had anything that made me feel that ill, to be honest. I was hallucinating. Honestly, I saw goblins at the end of the bed. I had crows flying through the windows. I was shivering. It was the weirdest illness I've ever had. Obviously, I was running a huge temperature. And even that morning, I was like, no, I don't need to go into hospital. But I did, thank goodness. And they said that I had the lung capacity of a 80-year-old woman that was smoking like something like 20 fags a day or something. And I was like, no, I'm in fitness. That's my identity. I'm in fitness. I should be really fit. My lungs should be really good. Anyway, so since that really knocked me back, actually, as it would do. And I had to train in a different way, obviously. And from that point, I think that was, I'm not going to go into all that other stuff that happened around my burnout and how it's been the most incredible, most beautiful experience of my life. Genuinely, I think burnout has been my path to peace. It really has. It was the beginning of my path to peace. I'm still on it, but my goodness, I feel like I'm the happiest I have ever been. And I know it's a journey, and it's really funny. Like when I said that in the past, I'm like, my goodness, I was still running away from so many things. I thought I was running to stuff, all the things that I needed to feel like I was enough to validate myself. All of the things that I was kind of teaching other people as well was still hankering, like harbored inside of me, inside of my soul, inside of my mind. And so I'm going to try not to go into that, but it kind of did obviously impact. That burnout was a body, mind and soul burnout, but it has led to my path to peace, and it's just incredible. But the fitness side of things, I actually put on, and it's not a huge amount, and I always say it's not about how much we put on, it's about how comfortable we feel in our own skin. And so I put on about 4 kg quite quickly, because I couldn't go to the gym. I didn't want to go to the gym. I was so demotivated. I was in depression, basically. I look back now and I was very, very depressed. I was very low. People wouldn't have known. I continued doing stuff on social media, which was part of the problem, putting this mask on. But I didn't go to the gym for a long time. That went on for about a month. I didn't do cardio, I didn't do weights. I barely had showers and stuff like that. So it was pretty bad. There were moments where I was just like, I don't want to live like this, And there are various reasons for that, which I will share in greater detail as I suppose it becomes clearer. It has become clear to me, but as it becomes clearer to me and I feel more comfortable talking about it, then I will. But the fitness side of things, I put on some weight. I couldn't fit in any of my clothes. That's been going on now. That went on actually until about 4 or 5 weeks ago, where I kept kind of yo-yoing backwards and forwards. I'm now 3.5 kg down, but it's really interesting. That doesn't feel like it's actually been a struggle at all, because I've done so much healing on the mindset and emotional and spiritual level. It feels very easy for my body to have reached that equilibrium and kind of to even itself out into a really, really happy pace. It's like my spirit is happy, my mind is happy, and so therefore my body is naturally just not craving the sweet stuff. It's not craving the processed foods or the takeaways and stuff like that. And it's also because I'm not trying to fill myself up emotionally with food. did. And I think that's what I really wanted to speak to you guys about today, was I suppose how I've gone about training in a different way since I've gone through this kind of, I suppose, transition. So, in the past, I would get up and I would smash lots of HIIT. I would do a lot of cardio, actually. I loved my weights, but I would do a lot of cardio. I've really pulled back on that. I really have. When I don't feel like I've got the energy for it, I actually I don't always do it. I don't push myself to do it. And I think that's just a real, for me, that's a really, really lovely place. There's a time and a place to push ourselves to do something. But mostly now I'm of the mindset and the feeling that our body, once we're really connected with our body, which is what's happened to me over the last 18 months, really reconnecting with it, I think it lets you know when you're kind of pushing it for the sake of pushing it and when it actually just doesn't have the energy. So I've definitely pulled back on a bit of my cardio, to be honest, and definitely up my weights. Not the amount of times I go into the gym, but actually I'm lifting a bit heavier. I'm pushing myself more with the weights than I ever have done. And suppose, pulled back on the cardio. But one of the things that's changed is predominantly it's actually that I'm getting up later. So I used to be a 5 a.m. girl with James, and we both had a conversation about this, and we were just like, I don't think that this is very good for our body right now. For me, where I was at, maybe we'll go back to 5 a.m. starts at some point, and our clients will know that I'm always like, get up and do it in the morning. That's great. But so now we don't set our alarm till 6, so it's an hour later. That's made a massive difference. We've really prioritized sleep. That's really helped with my cortisol levels. I can tell my hormone levels. It's just really made a massive difference. So now I'll go into the gym and I'll do HIIT, or like a run on the treadmill or something like that. And then I'll fuel. So then I'll have some of my shake, my power shake that all of our clients know about. Pretty much everyone in our world knows about. And then I'll go on to do my weights. So I used to do my weights fasted. But now I pretty much always do my weights fueled. So that's been a massive difference. And here's the thing, psychologically, it's really hard. And listen, I know that if you've been a cardio queen or cardio guy, a cardio king all your life, and it's hard not to be fearful and scared that if you pull back on the cardio, you're going to pile on the pounds. It's a real mindset shift. It's taken me all this time actually to really feel comfortable with it, because as I said, I was doing cardio loads and loads of cardio because I really, really loved it. So it's been a real mindset shift, I suppose, to do a little bit of cardio in the week, maybe like 3 sessions of cardio. I was doing maybe like 5, maybe like 3 cardio sessions in the week, and then fueling and doing my weights, because it felt really, really important to me to nourish my body. And we've always said to clients, fuel before your weights. But for me, it was so early in the morning. That's the thing that's changed. I'd get up at 5 in the morning, right? I'd do my cardio, and then I'd be like, but I want to fast. I want to do my 14-hour fast. So I don't want to have my shake yet. And it feels too early for breakfast. So I used to do some of my weights fasted, because it just felt too early for me to eat breakfast. So now, us getting up a little bit later, I do my cardio, I take my time, I get up actually, I don't go straight to the gym with James. We get up, I do a lot of my kind of like mindset stuff, I do my meditation, my prayer, my gratitude, and then I go and do cardio. So by then it's been kind of like a 12-hour gap, maybe even a 13-hour gap, and I've done my cardio, then I fuel, and then I can do weight. So it's really, really helped me getting up that little bit later, having a bigger gap, having a bigger fast window, and making sure that I do always fuel before I do weights. So that's one of the things as well. I've definitely had to focus more on my diet. So I think, like I really alluded to a moment ago, there was quite a lot of, and I felt really ashamed about this for quite a long time. I don't at all now. I think did I feel ashamed? Did I feel ashamed about it? No, I think I just felt a little bit embarrassed that, with all the work on myself, I hate that word, but, like all the work I thought I'd done on myself around, having had, borderline eating disorder basically when I was younger, and then piling all the pounds on when I was on my antidepressants, and then really having a turbulent time with food, I felt like, oh my goodness, I thought all this was sorted. It really hit me that it really did hit me actually. It was awful that I hadn't actually, there was still some remnants. And actually, here's the beautiful thing to understand is that there always might be something that happens in your life that triggers something, and it might not be food for you, it might be something else, but it triggered for me this kind of unhealthy relationship with food. So emotionally, I've been going through such a transition over the last 18 months, such a massive transition. But there will be times where, because I've given up alcohol as well, I would really look to food to make me feel better. It wasn't boredom for me. It was kind of that comfort, I suppose, hiding from the emotions that I was actually feeling. So pushing them down, shoving them down, wanting to get that dopamine hit just for a little while through food, which never lasted. And then obviously I was yo-yoing up and down a little bit with my weight, still not being able to fit into my clothes, still feeling really uncomfortable in my own skin. So I really had to move through that and work through that and have a lot of healing around that. I'm not, I suppose, really ready and comfortable enough to say like how I did that healing. It wasn't actually through lots of therapy, to be honest, not through lots of talking therapy. Let's just say it's been through a rekindling of my faith. So honestly, I genuinely feel that, I genuinely know that has been so much of my inner transformation. And I don't want to lie about that. I can't not. When people are like, oh my goodness, you look so different, you're coming, your energy feels so different. I'm like, well, yeah, because of this. It's not anything else. But also everything I have done over the years, all the, the therapy, even my coaching, because I always say we teach what we need to learn ourselves. If you're a coach, you're a therapist or anything, I hope you understand that. I bet you do. Because actually when we coach our clients, when we are therapists for our clients, we learn so much from them. So over this time, I've been learning so many things myself through the coaching that I've done, and also the amounts of bits and bobs that I've been doing over the years. I'm sure it's all culminated. Of course, it's not been for no reason at all. It's all culminated in this kind of beautiful transition. Like, I really genuinely feel like I keep saying, like, I feel like my DNA has kind of been resequenced. What a weird thing to say, but like, that's how much I don't even kind of like recognize maybe like the person I was even 20 months ago. This constant striving, this constant pushing, this constant wanting to be more, have more, be more disciplined, not just this whole like striving, not feeling like I'm enough just as I am. And as I said, I think that feeling enough has definitely resulted in a more aligned, healthy, sustainable look at food and exercise. So yeah, looking at my emotional triggers, that was really, really important. And I suppose not being scared to run away from them, really diving into them, asking for support around those, and what an amazing journey that's been. Again, like a real deepening of, I suppose, self-love around food. And then also like things like not running for the fun of it, not just to beat personal best. So it's always, I know that I really hammered this home, but there was always this kind of, I've got to do this kind of competition with myself. It's always pushing, which is actually why I don't wear fitness trackers, by the way. Someone asked me about those the other day. I think actually it was my mum, bless her. She was like, oh, do you wear a fitness tracker? And I was like, no, because actually I'm competitive enough with myself, or was competitive enough with myself. I don't need to be constantly, I've worn one before, constantly looking at to tell me how many calories I burnt, what my heart rate was, whether I had enough sleep last night. I don't want all of that. I really want to be aligned with how I actually feel, rather than a piece of tech telling me how I feel. I think we've become so disjointed because of technology. I don't want to become more disjointed from my body because of technology. So I suppose on the diet stuff, just going back to that, I had to focus more on my diet. I had to really track. So One of the things we always get our clients to do is tracking their food. And I used to track my food, but then it became so easy and it became intuitive that I didn't track my food. And that's something that I went back to really track it. But more than that, really tracking my macros, how much protein I was getting. So just being really, really firm with it, really accountable with it, really on point with it, really actually it massively helped me. Not like having those snacks when I felt emotional, actually instead of when I wanted those snacks, journaling about it, meditate, like just having like a toolkit of things that I did rather than going scoffing, a brownie from the local shop. So yeah, and then just for me, like I said, doing things more for the fun of it. James and I have actually just done a 10K this morning. We weren't going to. We were fair weather runners. It was absolutely hammering it down with rain this morning. But I actually thought the woman that I used to be, she would have been like, okay, I've got to do 10K in this time because I know I can normally do it in this time. But actually, I was like, no, I'm going to enjoy the experience. I'm going to be present in the experience. I'm going to do it with James. I want the experience to be beautiful. I want it to be calm and lovely, and I want to see all the amazing sights as we're running around London. I want to be with James, and that's the most important thing. So even that, in that sense, I was like, my goodness, there's been such a transformation, because normally I'd be like striving for, like a sub 50-minute 10K, and we actually did it in 53 minutes in the end, which was pretty cool. So I suppose, I don't know whether any of that kind of resonates with anyone. What I would say with some tips, because I always like to leave with some tips. I haven't actually listed any tips. I'm kind of going to go off the top of my head. One thing I would say is just making sure that you are honestly getting enough sleep, that you are, prioritizing your sleep. Because if you're not, that's going to raise cortisol in your body. You're going to feel more knackered. You might even get more burnt out. You might be holding on to body fat because of that. And actually craving more high energy food because you're really tired all the time. So prioritizing sleep, and just actually really look at your program, your workout program, and think like, have I made this up myself? Have I had a professional eye over this? Because this is really important. Most people are just going off what they see on the internet, but have you had like a professional person look over your training program and go, actually, you're doing a bit too much of this and a little too little of this? I think that's so important. Obviously, I actually have people I've had in the past, other personal trainers and fitness experts, look over my training program and give me advice, because I'm always open to learning more. So if you're not even in this field, you should definitely have done that, because what we need to be doing when we're at midlife, so we're not completely screwing up our hormones, we need to make sure that we are getting more rest. Because it wasn't just the burnout for me. There's definitely been a shift in my hormones. I'm 45 now. I'm getting kind of like definite signs and symptoms of peri-menopause. So we really need to be making sure that we have got our training program right to facilitate healthy hormones and not completely mess them up, and making sure that we are getting the right rest. I don't mean just sleep, but like the right rest in our training program. Are you going too hard on all the cardio? Are you going too hard on the weight sessions? And what are you doing in those weight sessions? Are you also progressing yourself? If you're not seeing, one of the mistakes that I see people make on their fitness plan is they want to give up because they're not getting results. But are you doing it in the right way? Are you progressing yourself with your weights? Are you getting the balance right? What else would I say? Making sure that you have really got your kind of like food nailed in, because we can't out-train a bad diet, can we? And more than ever, I have had to change my eating habits. I have. So looking at that, what does that look like? Again, maybe getting some expert advice around that. If you're doing fasting windows, making sure that they work for you and with you, because actually if you're doing too long a fast, that can really mess up your hormones as well. And you're reading stuff that you see on the internet, and actually you're trying to follow something that's not necessarily personalized to you, because we're all different. Our hormones are all living in our body like in different ways. So we do need that kind of like more personalized approach sometimes, and don't just go willy-nilly for something because you've seen someone on the internet talking about it and it's worked for them. What works for them might not always work for you. And I'm saying this about this podcast as well. Take what you want from it and leave the rest. We've still got to make sure that it's personal to us, because what works for me might not work for you. What else would I say? Yeah, just making sure that you're not going too long without food. I suppose that's kind of the fasting stuff that I was just talking about, but making sure that you're not going too long without food. If you're doing like cardio and then big weight sessions, just making sure that you're not going too long in without food. You could be going catabolic. You could be increasing the stress in your body. I think that's really about it, to be honest. But I wanted to kind of jump on and say that at midlife, we kind of should be looking at our fitness journey in a slightly different way. It might change anyway because of the psychological stuff you're going through, the hormonal stuff you're going through, the lifestyle stuff you're going through. What you used to do doesn't necessarily work anymore, and you might be feeling really uncomfortable about giving up how you used to do things, because I certainly don't do as crazy cardio as I did even 2 years ago. And I really felt uncomfortable about why aren't I doing that, and why doesn't my body respond in the same way that it used to? And why don't I even want to do that so much anymore? And I definitely, one of the things I do, by the way, is a lot more walking. So I walk a lot more and I love that. And I think I was always one of these people who are like, oh, walking. But actually, as long as you've got the rest of your program, you've got some other cardio stuff in, you've got your weights, I think walking is just the best. Getting outside, getting into nature, it's really, really great for you. So yeah, just making sure that you're being kind to yourself, being compassionate, and you're not denying the fact that your body might not necessarily be responding in the right way. If you are constantly knackered and you're still pushing your body to do certain things, I'd really question that, because you need to be really careful. It's what I did. I ended up with that lung infection. Doing 75 hard was a real wake-up call for me, and I didn't listen to the wake-up call for a good few months after that. And that just continued into like the deep burnout for me, mentally, spiritually, and physically as well. So there we are. I hope that's been helpful. Do let me know if you've got any questions. I'm on the email claire@themidlifementors.com. That's going to come specifically to me. And actually team@themidlifementors.com comes to me as well. But if you want to send me a personal email about any challenges you've got around this, or anything that I've mentioned that you're not clear about, because as I said, I've kind of just come onto this completely off the cuff. I didn't want to write too many notes and stuff, because then it might not come across as authentic as I wanted it to. And who knows, this might have come out incredibly jumbled. But if there's any questions that you've got that I haven't made clear on this podcast, you're thinking, oh, what did she mean by that? Because that's very highly likely. Just send me an email, claire@themidlifementors.com, and Claire is with an I. And I want you to know that if you're going through this struggle with your fitness journey at the moment, if you're going through a struggle with your nutrition journey at the moment, with your body, and that's affecting your mind, how you feel about yourself, all of that stuff, you're not alone. You are not alone. I've been in this industry for many years, and I was making many, many mistakes, and I probably will continue to because I'm human. But it's about, I suppose, listening to your body. We do need to shift things around when we get to midlife and when we're going through different things as well. So I'm sending you so much love. Thank you for listening, and I will be back with Mr. D. Probably not next week, because we'll have an interview that will go out next week, but I'll be back with him. You'll have double trouble in a couple of weeks. All right, sending lots of love.
Yeah. You've been listening to the Midlife Mentors with Claire and James Davis.
Yeah. We'd love to hear from you. So drop us a line at info@themidlifementors.com with any questions or topic suggestions.
And make sure you join us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can find us under the Midlife Mentors. Yeah. What? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. And don't forget to take the Midlife Reset Audit now to receive personalised insights into what's holding you back from living your healthiest, happiest midlife. So go ahead and take the audit now at themidlifementors.com/audit.